What's up, beautiful people? How y'all doing? Welcome to Dialogue with the Davises. I'm Cedric, and I'm joined by my beautiful and insanely talented wife, Lashana. And we have been blessed once again with the opportunity to sit down and share with you a conversation that we hope leads to some positive and healing and good dialogue between you and your husband or wife, and you know what I'm saying, and root to just kind of going on this journey together and just growing and becoming the best version of ourselves. Man, it's been a man. We didn't had a lot going on since the last time we sat down and record. You were blessed to see another year. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Glory to God for that.
Go
You know what I'm
ahead.
saying?
Go
No, I'm not.
ahead.
I'm
No,
not
I mean,
gonna
I,
say.
I know where you're going with it.
No, I'm not gonna say anything. I
Uh-huh.
mean, I'm just
Just
thankful
like
to
you,
God.
just like the insanely, and
Yeah,
yeah, that
you
was.
know,
I
today.
caught it. I caught it.
Nah, today I'm just real feeling real, joyous and
Hmm.
stuff like that. So,
Okay.
yeah, the wife had a birthday. Thank God, she was blessed to see another year. July is a busy month for us when it comes to
Yeah.
birthdays, man. My dad's birthday is in July. He's first, and then Lashana, and then we have Milan, and then we have London following that. So
Hmm.
yeah, July is a busy month concerning birthdays.
My dad's
Um,
birthday is in
yeah,
July.
and your dad's birthday is
My uncle
July. Yeah,
Nathaniel's birthday is in July.
yeah, man.
My cousin Karen and John, who are 9 years apart, brother and sister, their birthday is in July.
Yeah, so July is a busy month as it relates to the birthdays. So
Our
um,
niece's birthday is in July.
yeah, I know. So
God, we just July.
July busy. So needless to say, we gonna be saying a lot of happy birthdays this
Hmm.
month. So again, just been a lot going on since the last time we had the opportunity to sit down and come before you all. But again, let's get to it, man. So uh, we were talking not long ago, and one of the things that came up during the conversation that we were having is some of the things that we wish we would have kind of knew early on in terms of like certain conversations to have, certain ways to posture yourself as a husband or a wife, just basically like you know what I'm saying, some foundational things that should have been established in the beginning that I feel like would have led to us not being in a situation where we maybe would have not had as many hiccups, if that makes sense.
Mm.
So, again, myself and the wife, we've been together for quite some time, and we've been blessed to see a lot, heal through a lot, go through a lot,
Hmm.
and I feel like it was all en route to us getting to this point now, where we can kind of, in a very healthy way, have conversations about some of those things. So, what is one thing you wish you had known early on, or what is one conversation you wish we would have had early on with regards to um, our marriage and what that was to look like and how everything was to, you know what I'm saying, come together as we were growing and trying to merge our lives to become one.
Um, I think one thing that stands out is I think it is not fair, excuse me, to your spouse
Mm-hmm.
or significant other because I mean, everyone who watches this won't be married,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I think that one thing I wish I had known is it was not your responsibility to make me happy.
Man, that's big. Oof.
I think that we put way too much pressure on our significant other and the relationship when we make it someone else's responsibility to make us happy. You have to make yourself happy.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be happy within your own mind, body, and spirit. You can't make that someone else's task
Sole responsibility.
because when you do that, it's a trap. And the way it's a trap is I want you to make me happy, but I don't know what it's going to take for you to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So if I don't even know,
Mm-hmm.
then how can you do it? And now I'm mad at you
Mm-hmm.
because you can't do something for me that I can't even do for myself.
Man, that's big because I really feel like early on, and you know what I'm saying, the other side of that is also seeking not now, and that was your thing, and you know what I'm saying, and that's definitely something big because I feel like we've both been guilty of that at certain points in times. But I know one thing that um, for myself personally was me seeking validation in who it is that I was with regards to everything it is that I was doing.
Hmm.
So I know moving early on, like if I did something with the expectation of pleasing you, or with the expectation of having a certain response come from you. And if I didn't yield that response, or I didn't get what it is that I was expecting, then it would kind of like send me into not necessarily a tailspin, but into a place of being frustrated, if that makes sense.
Right.
Like it would lead me to be like, well, man, so nothing what I'm doing is good enough. Or, you know what I'm saying? Nothing of what I'm doing is equaling up to what it is that I intended for it to equal up to. And thank God, you know what I'm saying, all glory to him for growing and arriving to a place of knowing and understanding that my intent shouldn't have been, you know what I'm saying, to try and please you so much per se anyway. Because I feel like that was on a slick a bit deceptive, because it was almost as if I'm doing this with the intent to manipulate you to being happy.
Right.
If that
Right.
makes sense.
Right.
And it should never be that I'm doing something to try to manipulate you to make you happy. It should be, hey, I'm doing this because I'm very much so having a desire, or notice something needing to
To
take place.
fulfill.
Yeah, to fulfill.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely. And
Right.
I should, and like the Bible tells us, all things that we should do them to the glory of God anyway, and not to
Right.
please man. So
Right.
now I know now presently, the things that I do, if I'm inspired by the Holy Spirit to do something, or start a certain conversation or anything of that nature, I know the response now is completely different, and I'm not necessarily as negatively impacted if it doesn't land the way that I intended it to land.
Right.
Yeah. So
Right. But I think too, it comes from healthy dialogue.
yeah,
I
definitely,
need you to,
definitely.
I'm going through something. This is how I'm feeling about this particular thing, or whatever, and then we both address it. I address my side of it, you address your side of it, and then we come together and figure it out. But a lot of times when you would feel away because something that you did didn't, have me jumping up and down, but I didn't even ask for it in the first place.
I know, right? That's
So
crazy.
here it is. You come home and you're like, oh, I bought you a basket full of puppies and ice cream and butterflies, whatever. But I didn't ask for that.
Yeah.
And now I'm looking at it like, but now I got to clean behind these puppies, and I didn't even ask for them.
Yeah, for real.
Or, I don't want ice cream or
Yeah.
whatever. And you thought it was this grand
Gesture.
and
Yes.
and the thought behind it was really sweet. But I asked for pizza. Just bring me the pizza.
Yeah,
So I think that we it is a beautiful idea, but I think sometimes we hurt ourselves by doing that.
yeah, it lands wrong, and early on, like again, that's why I think this is a great conversation to have, because early on, especially when you're younger, you're in a situation where you're trying to figure certain things out.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I've said on previous podcasts that we've done prior to this one, like I really didn't understand what it was to be a husband.
Right.
And being honest with you, I really didn't understand what it was to be a man. It was almost as if I had this worldly perspective of what it was to be a man. I had this misunderstanding of what manhood truly was. And, I was trying to hit the mark as it relates to the things that I saw being displayed in the world, not realizing and understanding that I would never get to a point of achieving what it is that I really desired, because I was going all about it the wrong way. I didn't have the right mindset. I didn't have the right understanding. So I feel like if we would have sat down early on, and I feel like because when we first got together, we talked a lot.
A lot.
We talked a lot. We did communicate a lot, but in talking, I feel as if we discovered a lot about one another, but I don't think we necessarily had certain conversations with regards to intentionality and what it would look like once we merged our lives together. Just like you said, the whole piece of not having it be my responsibility completely or solely on me to make you happy. Like that's something that, when we talked early on, I feel like we kind of not necessarily brushed over it, but we were in a headspace where we just assumed that, you know what I'm saying, when we came together, it's like, okay, you got to make me happy, I got to make you happy,
Right.
and that's it.
Right.
So that's something that's definitely of significance to highlight, But another thing that comes to mind is just the landscape of your relationship, like what that'll look like as far as, you know what I'm saying, spiritual beliefs, like what it is that the person you're involved with, like what their belief system is,
Right.
the rearing of children, like how do you feel about certain things taking place when it comes to the kids versus other things taking place? A big one, and I know this is something that we still kind of go back and forth about now. Where do you see yourself living? You know what I'm saying? Like that's yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. That's
That one is a hard one.
yeah. I mean, definitely. Like, but again,
And when we say living, we mean once he's retired,
yeah,
once
geographical
the
location. Yeah,
military is
once
not moving us anymore, where are we going to
retire.
retire and live
Yes.
forever? Because I think for me that's going to be very difficult because I'm 47.
Oh, you telling your age?
Yes,
Bet.
I am.
You're so
I look
beautiful.
good for
Yeah,
47.
you do. You're beautiful.
Yeah, this is
Yes,
this is that
definitely.
good. This is that good
Yeah,
47.
you know what I'm saying?
But I feel like I've been moving my whole life.
Yeah, you
You
have.
know, some people say, "Oh, I've been moving my whole life," and they really been moving for half of it,
Mm-hmm.
or they've been moving for all of the adult portion of it, or whatever. I literally was born to military father, and then a military mother, and then I was in the military, and you're in the military. I've never not moved,
Yeah, so yeah, you've moved a
so
lot.
I can go somewhere and be there for 3 years and say, okay, right when I think I'm about to lose my
It's time
mind,
to leave.
it's
Yeah.
time to go anyway. So for me, moving somewhere and being there and having to settle into the idea that I'm never going to move again, I mean, that's major.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
And
and
travel isn't going to be enough because realistically, how much do you travel?
I mean,
You know what I mean?
I think once we're retired and we're doing what it is that we're inspired to do and being led to do by God, I feel like that'll create the opportunity for us to get out and see some things
Yeah.
and you know what I'm saying, kind of go forward from there. But just getting back to the actual topic, like that's something that's
Major.
what I'm saying, that's definitely major.
And people
Like
should have those conversations.
yes, those conversations definitely should be had. I mean, even just you know what I'm saying, like certain things as far as the dynamic, because I know personally, like, and I was very immature when I did this. Like I said, I didn't want you to have any male friends. Like I was like, no male friends. But in the midst of you not having male friends, I still continue to, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying,
Yeah. Yeah.
have
Yeah.
female friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I,
He.
but I
Yeah.
mean, but it wasn't with the intent of
I mean, I
being.
had to fight anybody,
Nah, you didn't have to
so
fight
it was
anybody.
not.
Yeah.
It wasn't that bad.
Nah, it wasn't
Because
that
I,
bad. Yeah,
I used to be different than I am now.
yeah, you're a woman of God now. We don't fight. So, but I mean, just to the point of the conversation, it's like those are things that definitely need to be discussed, and I feel like it can save a great deal of heartache later on down the line when you arrive to a certain place within your marriage or within your relationship, because now what happens is you can kind of go back and revisit some of those things, and of course those things may change throughout the years as you're growing, just like we talked about on the last podcast. You definitely grow and you have to make changes and things of that nature in your relationship depending on what life throws at you. But at the same time, these conversations should be foundational to the point where you establish if you're so far off from one person, you know what I'm
Yes.
saying? They compare, like if you want to live in Europe and I want to live in, you know, the other side of the
Alexandria,
world, yeah,
Louisiana.
yeah,
Ooh,
that's a big difference.
that's a
So
big old
yeah, that's a
difference.
big difference. So like that stuff needs to be talked about. Or one thing that I find that's a major kind of like stumbling block in some relationships is just like the individual's faith, like how individuals merge that together, like because one may have one set of ideologies and beliefs and another one may have another set of ideologies and beliefs, and if those things are not, you know what I'm saying, foundational to the extent of, you know what I'm saying, being able to bring that stuff together, then that's something that needs to be considered, or you know what I'm saying, talked about as well.
As far as that is concerned, you know, people often say you can't talk about religion, you
Mm-hmm.
can't talk about politics, and you can't talk about what's the third thing? Money. Is
Money.
it money?
I don't
I think
know.
it's money. And I think you can talk about all three,
Yes.
and you can talk about it with anybody as long as everyone who is in the conversation remains respectful.
To what's being said to the from the other
You
person.
can
Yes.
be a complete believer in if you worship grass, then you worship grass. As long as I'm respectful, I don't have to agree with you. I don't have to, I mean, we're adults. I don't have to agree. I don't have to like it. I don't have to anything. I just have to be respectful. So I think that if you are coming into a relationship that will eventually lead to marriage, that will eventually lead to raising children, as long as you remain respectful to one another, you can have different beliefs. You can, I'm Catholic. You are not Catholic. You went to Catholic school, but you're not Catholic. You understand the belief system that is that people who are Catholic believe in. As long as you respect it, it doesn't matter. As long as
But and I'm sorry for cutting you off. And I think the reason that we have never kind of like hit a major stumbling block with that is because of the fact of, you know what I'm saying, our although there's you grew up Catholic, and you know what I'm saying, that's what you understand as it relates to getting to the place that you are now. It didn't lead us to a source of you know what I'm saying, being uncomfortable in any space, because you believed in Christ. You know what I'm
right,
saying? You believed in God. But what about individuals who have because the Bible tells us not to be unevenly yoked, and you know what I'm saying. There are instances throughout the Bible where God instructed His people not to marry, and this is Old Testament, of course, where God instructed His people not to marry, you know, other nationalities that had other gods that they served and worshipped, because
but
He
that's
knew
other
the power.
gods though.
Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah,
that's the point that I'm making. But what the reason that this is such a you know what I'm saying, conversation, an important conversation to have early on, is because you may end up with someone who does not believe in God, or you may, you know what I'm saying. That's why I say, because think about it, there are a lot of young individuals who are dating now, and I don't feel as if their belief comes up enough. I don't feel as if that's something that they talk. I
because
think,
they're told not to talk about it.
and that's the thing.
Because they're trained. People are don't talk about politics, don't talk about money, don't talk about religion, and and so they don't,
Yeah,
and so they get in these relationships, and they we're not gonna talk about it.
yeah,
We're not gonna talk about it,
and
and
that's
I
bad.
and
Yeah.
I think that it also comes from the way we're raised. Don't touch that. Why? Because I said so. I don't
But no
understand. I
explanation
don't
is
you
provided.
because I said so is it's kind of a cop out of a teachable moment. I'm telling you don't touch that because you're going to burn yourself.
Yes,
I'm
definitely.
telling you don't touch that because you're going to whatever. Because I said so is not an answer.
No, it's not. It's not.
So when you do that, you raise children who will become adults who don't have the ability to have a conversation
Yeah,
because
that's
they just do what they're told.
yeah. They become robotic
They just
almost.
and
Yeah.
so when we get together, I don't want you to have male friends. Why? Because I said so. Okay. That how does that work?
Yeah, that's yeah. That completely does not make
It
sense.
just
Yeah.
doesn't work.
Yeah, it
So
doesn't.
I mean, I feel like it has to be more conversation about religion before you get involved with someone. But then I also think we are in such a superficial society that once we fall in love with the exterior, I don't know how much of the interior matters anymore
And
to people.
that's
I don't.
man.
I just you will get involved with someone who is beautiful and trash on the inside.
And that's see, and that's something that's like big to me. You know, I've always been the type of person where, you know what I'm saying, like your heart posture matters. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
To me, your internal, you know what I'm saying, spiritual being matters, because that's where everything comes from. You know, the Bible tells us, you know what I'm saying, everything comes from the heart. So whatever it is that's taking place, like yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, we know what it
I
is.
mean, yeah.
Yeah, you
But I
but you
mean, I'm not going to. Um, I appreciate that.
mm,
Um, and I want you to be a good person.
mm.
But if
But you want them to be
but
attractive as well.
if he don't look good, I'm not.
Yeah,
Like I'm
but
not,
see,
I'm not gonna be laying next to a man that has a beautiful heart, and I don't want to look at him.
But see, I can appreciate that because at least you're honest with yourself. Where
Yes.
some individuals, you know what I'm saying, they may not be. Or there's also the understanding that must be had where, you know what I'm saying, like you have this expectation of certain things, or you are trying to attract these certain things, but you know what I'm saying, you may not be necessarily equipped to deal with them. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? Like
Absolutely.
so like you said, it's definitely important to understand a person's heart and you know what I'm saying, know who they are internally because that's definitely major as it relates to
Right.
the growth of the relationship. Because I again, just getting back to us, like even on the faiths, the side of faith, like we've gotten to a point where you know my walk with God is very intentional,
Right.
but you never cause any disruption in our family with regards to that. Like you allow me to lead, you know what I'm saying, the things that God inspires or instruct us to do. You know, as husband and wife, we remain obedient to that, and we've never gotten to a place where it became extreme to the point where we've butt heads.
Oh yeah.
But now, again, that goes back to what you were speaking to with regards to what's inside of a person. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not so married to certain things with regards to, you know what I'm saying, ideologies and beliefs in that sense of the world to the point where you allow it to dirty up what's on the inside of you and now you're just like, oh no, I'm not doing, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
because you just refuse to hear, you know, any type of reason or whatever else. But that's because you're a good person, like, you know what I'm saying, you're loving, you're kind, you know, you have all of these qualities that make you an individual who is willing to hear what the other person is saying and then actually, you know, provide adequate feedback and give them some insight on how you're receiving that information or whatever else. But everybody's not. I've seen some individuals where, like, man, they're absolutely beautiful, but woo, like
Yeah.
they something to deal with.
Yeah.
And I know I couldn't, you know what I'm saying, for me that would be difficult. So just just kind of like on that point is definitely important to in the beginning to have those type of conversations so you can know and understand and discover certain things that is, you know.
But then too, I think that life and as you mature, it opens new doors. I don't think that at 20, you're having conversations about certain things. I mean, and you know, because and I don't,
Yeah,
you know,
it,
you
you
have some 20-year-olds that are having, I mean, in-depth conversations about politics and money and religion and the whole nine. But they are different.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, when you think about 20-year-olds, especially today, they're just thinking about a hookah bar, some fine dude,
or some fine chick.
or chick, and something that we be looking at them like,
Everything,
really, like
yeah.
that's your whole life, like that's all you're worried about. I mean, like it that they're not thinking about real life at
Yeah, that's
20.
that's because that's because everything is so worldly. And
Yeah.
again, not to over, you know what I'm saying, saturate the conversation with, you know, just faith, but it's like that's because the morals and the standards and the things that, you know, they look to for guidance. Like, man, we didn't have to contend with that when we were coming up. Social
No, we
media, like
didn't.
like, man, the internet, like I didn't type my first paper on a computer until I was in college. Like, you know what I'm saying? So all throughout high school and everything else, we were using typewriters and stuff like that. So, and we had encyclopedias where you had to actually read through the
I love
encyclopedia.
encyclopedias.
So we didn't have to contend with the internet in the way that kids have to contend with it now. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like a long-handed situation that they have access to, and they don't always have the wisdom that's needed or required to properly, you know, deal with the information that they're receiving or the knowledge that they're receiving from being able to go to Google and just ask whatever question it is that they desire to know the answer to. So that's one thing that I appreciate, that we didn't have to contend with because it doesn't, the water was less muddy back then.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like now, with kids, like you can type in the internet what makes a good man, and now kids who have no idea when they type this in Google, they're gonna try and follow that step by step what's been given to them. Or a young lady who types into Google what makes a good woman, or how to be a wife, or how to be a like. And these things are on the internet, and 9 times out of 10, the information that's being communicated to them, you know what I'm saying, is not necessarily in the best interest of any relationship that they're getting ready to enter into or anything like that. So when you take a young person and they don't have a model to necessarily reference in terms of, what they should be pursuing or seeking, it turns into a problem. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
So
mean, and they don't have the guidance they need. I mean, you look at a lot of the parents are only a couple years older than the kid.
yeah, definitely. But that's why I feel like content such as this is so important, because those are things that, when we were younger, we kind of started to understand, as we entered into our relationship. But now, being older and being in a situation where we've come from certain things, and we've grown and been able to better understand certain things, it's like, hey man, with our kid, because like I know the conversation we have with the girls and with our sons is very intentional. Like, it's you
And
you
very
know
raw.
yeah,
It's
that,
very
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
I'm not, and sometimes it's funny because I know I can see your whole hairline go back when I say certain things to girls. You be like,
yeah. I be
why?
wanting you to ease into it though.
I'm
That's,
not
you know what
gonna
I'm
ease
saying.
into it though.
Yeah, I mean, you're not. I mean, and I understand why, but at the end of the day, that's my daughters. So I'm
Yeah,
like,
but,
I'm
but
like,
I'm
hey, you got to that real quick, like
like
why?
right now.
Yeah. So, but again, even that, you know what I'm saying? Like, what type of conversations do you need to have with your
All of
children?
them.
Yeah, I mean, and I agree now, but think about it. When, just like with our first son, you know what I'm saying, with Jordan, there were times where, you wanted to do one thing in terms of child rearing, and I wanted to do something different, but because we hadn't had the conversation per se, you know what I'm saying?
We didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah, we didn't necessarily know or understand what we were doing, and not to say you
And
can't
he's our
reach.
practice kid.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
if you're the
yes,
first child, you're the
yeah.
practice
We
kid.
we.
I'm sorry. I was
I'm
the
sorry,
practice
son.
kid.
Yeah, we practice with your
You were the
son.
practice
Yeah,
kid.
for
It
real.
in Jordan. Sorry.
Yeah,
I mean, it
we
is what
love
it
you.
is. We
Yeah, we
love you.
love you.
Thank you for
Yeah.
letting us practice on you.
Yeah, for real. And I don't think you. Let me say this. I don't think you turned out bad, son. I'm extremely, you know what I'm saying, proud of who it is that you're growing into, and I think, you know what I'm saying, God is doing amazing things in your life. So yeah, although we practice with you, I feel like, you know what I'm saying, God still had His hand on the whole situation, and
Yeah, yeah.
you're not bad, you alright, but now that's enough.
I mean, I think
Yeah.
I think he's great. 'Cause I think that he's the male version of me. So I mean, what more can I ask?
See what I'm saying?
I mean, I
That's a
think
whole nother.
that's a different story. But I think he's
That's
awesome.
a whole nother.
And
Yeah.
then he's gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean,
He's gorgeous.
he's a good looking young
He's
man. Yeah,
gorgeous. And I often tell him he ain't about nothing,
yeah,
but he's gorgeous.
yeah. I mean, he's a good looking
And he
young man.
laughs. But
Yeah,
but anyway, yeah, you do practice with your first kid, and you don't know what you're doing, and you're doing your best. We did our best.
yes, we did.
He, um, all jokes aside, he was our practice kid. But that's with anything. Your
Yeah,
first job is your
definitely.
practice job. Your first car is your practice car.
But the thing
We were.
about it though, we don't want to have practice marriages though. You know what I'm saying? Like
But I mean,
that's and hopefully that's what this and
but
prayerfully.
even your but the beginning of your marriage is your practice.
Yeah, because you're figuring some stuff out.
Okay,
Yeah, you're
so
figuring
like
some
you
stuff
go
out.
into a job and you have 14 degrees to get that job. You went to school for all this time and they told you how to do this job. And then you get to that job and they say, yeah, everything they taught you,
Forget it.
forget
Yeah,
about
forget
it.
about it.
This is
Yeah.
what I want you to do, and you're practicing. And then 6 months into it, you're like, oh, I got this. But them first 6 months, you were practicing.
Yeah, you were.
You were practicing. So,
Yeah, you
like,
were.
when you first get married and you are fighting about things that now you look back and say, why do we even fight about that? Or
Yeah, for
when
real.
you are throwing things down the hall, or you are, doing whatever it is that you're doing, you're practicing.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
then you get to a point where you're like, okay, 6 month evaluation. How am I looking right now?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna mark
Definitely.
you high on this, low on that. I mean, and that's something maybe people should consider. Check in and have an evaluation.
Yeah,
I feel
definitely.
like this is where, but I think you have to be mature enough to have it.
Yeah.
You have to be strong enough to hear. In this area, you
I need you to
kind
improve.
of
Yeah.
you kind of messing up. I need you to fix that.
but that goes back to in the beginning establishing the fact that hey, we're a team. You know what I'm saying? And anything that I tell you is for the betterment of the team, and it's not intended to tear you down or anything like that. Because you know what I'm saying? That's where that conversation I feel moves the needle past certain things that you may get stuck on. Because it's like, okay, if you're taking offense to everything that's being said, you know what I'm saying? Like, then I feel like that's a problem. And speaking to that point, that's something else that I wish I would have known early on, or something that we would have talked about early on is, you know what I'm saying, choosing to be offended versus not being offended. You know what I'm saying? Because like there are certain times that you'll say something and it's not with the intent of causing me any harm or diminishing who it is that I am or speaking down on me or anything else. But it's like I made a choice to be offended by what it is that you said. Like you, that's not what your intent was, but I made up in my mind, nah, she said that, so she talking about me, that's negative. You know what I'm
I still
saying?
struggle with that though, and I don't feel like for me that I am necessarily choosing to be offended, but maybe I'm not choosing not to be. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Like
You're
I'm
not
not
fighting hard enough to not be
right.
offended.
I'm
Yeah.
not digging hard enough and saying, "Oh, listen, you know him. This is not what he meant." You know, I'm not trying to be upset, but I know even still, um, my little ego gets offended. You know, I feel a certain way. You know, something that again you didn't ask me to do. I took it on. I took that responsibility on myself, and now that you are not, giving me a standing ovation, now I'm upset about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Bet.
and I think those are things that you deal with forever. You know, you have to. There are some days I'm going to deal with it better than I deal with it on other days.
Well, yeah,
You
I
know,
think you deal with it in a very mature way now in comparison to early on. Just like same thing with myself. But I mean, in that phase of growth,
why'd you
and
smirk when you said that?
what you mean?
When you just now,
What
just
I
now,
smirked? What I said?
when you said, I think that you handle it in a more mature way. Like you kind of smirked.
Yeah, because I mean, because when you were younger, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you didn't necessarily always deal with things maturely. Just like, and I'm not just pointing the finger at you. I mean, nor did I. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So like, because
It was
yeah,
like your spirit was tickled. Like I could see it. It was
yeah,
coming all from.
no, it was a joyful. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, thank God she's not. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, thank God, because you know what I'm saying. And we laugh about it now when we look back on it, but when we were going through that stuff, it was
It wasn't
like
funny
it wasn't funny.
at
Like,
all.
boy, we was dead. So like it was,
Yeah.
there was nothing funny about it.
No, it wasn't.
You know what I'm saying? But now we have it where we can kind of, because we've healed and certain areas, and and again, we're still healing in other phases of our marriage, but like we've healed in certain areas, and it's like, okay, now we can laugh about that. And I think that's important. Like, if you
Absolutely.
ever get to a point in your marriage where you stop laughing, man, or
Right.
you stop being able to have fun, then man, I feel like you're in a dangerous space.
Yeah.
I really feel like you're in a dangerous space, because that's one thing that we absolutely can have is um moments where something will happen between the two of us, and you know what I'm saying, we can think back on them and laugh,
Yeah.
just like your massage the other night, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, but it was, it was with good intentions.
It,
You know what I'm saying, it was with good intent.
yeah,
Or you know what I'm
that
saying,
was
like,
that
yeah,
wasn't good intentions.
it was, or like a certain episode of a show that, you know what I'm saying, we'll watch, and I might laugh, because you still know I still be laughing at that Bernie Mac episode where Jordan gave those kids who had never them kids that, yeah, them kids that meat and them kids that never had meat. Oh man, them kids was turned out by that meat. But man, listen,
Yeah,
yeah, my bad.
that's
Yeah,
yeah. We took it too
getting back
far.
to it,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
But just stuff
Yeah.
like that. I feel like it's important to be able to laugh and have a good time in your marriage, because I feel like that breaks the ice when you're in the middle of going through something, and you know what I'm saying, everything has gotten so serious. It's like
Yeah,
being able to
absolutely.
find a moment to laugh and
Comic
connect in
relief.
that, yeah, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
connect in that space, and then kind of, you know what I'm saying, get out of that negative, or you know what I'm saying, not necessarily so good spirit, and
Right,
return
right,
to,
right.
something joyous. I feel like that's important.
But when you can't, it's because you're married to being mad.
Yeah,
There, I mean,
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
guilty of it. I
yeah,
know there have been times I was like, nope,
yeah. You
I'm going. I'm mad,
Yeah.
and I don't want to hear nothing about the little boy eating that meat.
Yeah.
This fight is going on.
Yeah.
And then I graduated from that.
Yeah, but again, you know what I'm saying? That's like
You
you
made my
said, that was
eyeliner run.
my bad. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be all right. But again, you know what I'm saying? That's just like the whole piece of you know what I'm saying, choosing to be offended. Or
Right.
choosing, like you said, you made a choice to say, hey, you know what? I'm mad, and no, I'm gonna be mad. Because
Yeah.
I know it's certain times we'll be having a conversation, and I'll be like, you know what I'm saying, trying to make sure I bring our spiritual growth and development into it, and you be looking at me like, boy, listen, I don't want to hear that right now. You know what I'm saying? You be
Because cause I feel like that is a um I feel like it's unfair. It
yeah, because
is.
I'm not giving you the time to feel what you
Yeah,
feel.
like let
Yeah,
me feel it.
definitely.
Let me be mad because it's like, how do you when you're mad about something, someone be like, oh yeah, God. What are you supposed to do with that? Like,
I mean,
I mean, you can't keep going.
but I be trying to jack you though, because sometimes you be going, and I be like, oh, I gotta pull it back. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a name drop guy,
Like, yeah,
and
but
then
that's
you know,
horrible though.
but it's not intended to be horrible. It's more or less intended to remind you of who it is that you've grown to become, and
Yeah,
what it
but
is that you've been delivered from, and then also, you know what I'm saying, kind of reminds you of the fact that, hey, listen, this is something where I know you're upset right now, but you know the moment it'll pass. Yeah, I know you don't be one here
no,
sometimes, but
because sometimes
you won't be
you
mad.
owe it to the person to let them process how they feel.
I agree. I agree. I
And you
agree.
don't be like, okay, I'm tired of arguing about a guy. Like that's
No, no,
not
no. I don't say,
that's
no,
not
but
what you do.
look
You
at that.
do. It's like spades. All
What you
right.
mean? It's like
What
spades.
he'll do is
What I do?
what you'll do is you'll wait until the person feels like, and then you'll be like, bow. There's nothing you that's not right.
But I mean, it's not.
That's not it. It isn't.
It's, but I'm saying you're right in a sense. But at the end of the day, somebody, when you're in the midst of having a colorful disagreement, has to remain, you know what I'm saying, grounded, and be able to say, okay, we're not gonna let this go
Okay,
too
so then
far.
be grounded and just don't argue back, but don't be like,
I mean, I
because
be,
it's almost like I can see it coming,
but
and then
it's
I'm
not.
really, and then I get, and then the mad builds because I'm like, he about to say God,
But
and
see, look,
now I'm ready to fight because I feel
yeah,
like
don't fight me.
I gotta get it. Like I feel like I have to say everything I have to say real fast
Mm.
because it's like God, and I'm done.
But
Like
now let me.
that's not right.
But not real. But real talk though. Sometimes when I'm you know what I'm saying, referencing God, or you know I'm referencing scripture, I'm doing that for my benefit as well, because there may be something brewing up inside of me that be like, say, bro, if she said the thing, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna get mad now, and now we both on 10, and now we, you know what I'm saying. So it's like,
Okay,
yeah. So
that's
I'm
fair.
so
I
now
never
it's like,
considered
okay,
that.
let me reference scripture, and let me, you know what I'm saying, be reminded of what it is that, you know, I've learned, and
Okay,
apply those things. You
okay,
know what I'm saying? Yeah,
I
that's
never
what it
really
be.
considered that.
Oh yeah, that's what it be.
So sometimes you're trying to save me from.
I'm be trying to save us. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm about to help me, but hopefully this help her as well. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what the mindset be. Hopefully she catch this, and you know what I'm saying, she reel it on back in. But now, man, like, you know, it's just like the word of God tells us, man. Like those who set their mind on God, you know what I'm saying, keep their mind steadfast on God, He provides them with perfect peace. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So there has to be a level of understanding, and a level of, you know what I'm saying, situational awareness at all times, because things could go left in a minute.
Yeah,
You
they
know what I'm
can.
saying? They could fly off the
Yeah,
rails,
they
and
can.
yeah, and you never want to
And
put
then you're on
yourself.
the other side, like, how
Did we get here?
did I get
Yeah,
here? Like,
definitely, definitely.
what happened? I mean, just think about people who marriage is the end.
Hmm.
Last week, everything was good.
That's what I'm saying.
And this week, y'all are really
Y'all
sitting
really had
down
it.
talking about, I want half of that computer.
Yes, for
You know,
real.
I don't really,
But that's
that's
because
hard.
nobody. So again, my bad for cutting you off. But again, that's something else I feel like that needs to be talked about in the beginning. Is just saying, hey, we don't have to finish every argument that moment.
Right.
We don't have to figure it all out. But what we must do, and what we always must maintain, is a level of respect and decency for one another.
Right.
Because we're not, you know what I'm saying, in a headspace where we're trying to destroy one another. Because if I destroy you verbally in an argument, and you destroy me, because you know I don't really fuss good. You know what I'm saying? Like you be tearing me out the frame with the arguments. I don't never win. Because I don't.
I'm a pro.
Yeah,
I
you.
am
Oh, you fuss good.
Ooh, I'm a pro.
Yeah, you got your PhD in fussing. You know what I'm saying?
I
But
am
I ain't good.
good
Oh, I
at
be
it.
getting probably getting mollywop. But you know what I'm saying? A lot of times
Little one too.
yeah, that's what's up, but I ain't tripping. But a lot of times that's important to understand, like knowing and understanding a person that you're having this disagreement with, man, this is your teammate. This
Yeah.
is your other half. So why say something so offensive to the point where you now can't recover from that and you're headed down a road that when you look back years later, you're
Yeah.
like, or even days or moments or weeks or whatever the time frame may be that God causes you to pause and pay attention. Why are you now? I mean, you say you now are looking at it like, man,
I said the most.
yeah, I could have avoided this. Or this is something that, you know what I'm saying, could have kind of been de-escalated if I had just been in that moment present and understood that, like, nah, this ain't necessarily what it is that need to be said. So I mean, that's kind of like where it is. I think we get into our point in time where now, you know what I'm saying, we might need to start wrapping up, because I be trying to be respectful of people's time
Yeah.
and everything else, and we still gotta tell everybody about doing all the stuff. But now, before we get to that point, man, hopefully this conversation encourages somebody who's in the early part of their marriage, or even, you know what I'm saying, years beyond in their marriage, or not even married yet, to have a conversation to talk about those things that not necessarily are deal breakers, but are things that will help you to better navigate some of the landmines that may present themselves within your marriage, because you never know what you'll discover through that. You know what I'm saying? There are some things that I'm sure that can be worked out, and then there are other things that may be a bit difficult to recover from, with regards to what's taking place in your marriage or your relationship. But nonetheless, I still feel as if it's important to have those conversations and make sure you're addressing those topics, and just talking about the things that need to be talked about. So yeah. So you gonna tell them about the stuff? Say, oh, hold up, check it out. I'm gonna do it. Why this help?
Okay.
Oh, because I think I got it.
You got it?
Oh, you gotta like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit the notification thing. So when we get ready to drop, so when we drop videos, you'll be aware of the fact that, you know what I'm saying, we drop video. Boy,
Kill it.
boy, listen, boy, we done a few little videos, but I think I know something. Still don't know nothing about nothing. You did?
We gonna figure it out.
Yeah, oh, for real. But again, man, it's beautiful, because I think the intent behind what we're doing, well, I know, as a matter of fact, I know the intent behind what we're doing is not to be, pros, or you know what I'm saying, influencers or YouTube professionals.
No.
Is really about, you know what I'm saying, making sure, because again, we both love to see a healthy and thriving family dynamic. Does that mean perfect? Nah, but healthy, man. Healthy means you're able to sit down and have conversations, and you're able to sit down and talk about certain things, and you're able to connect in a way that brings you back to being close and together with your person. So now when you're facing those tough times or those tough challenges, you can deal with them in a more sound way than what it is that you had dealt with them before. And man, I'm just so grateful for us being in this space, because early on there was some times, man, like, again, I give glory to God for breathing something new into us and having us still be together, because we have faced some challenges and have been battle tested. And I think that has produced in us a testimony to be able to share with others and let them know, like, man, listen, if you're seeking after God and the right things, and you know what I'm saying, you're intentional about your marriage and your relationship, there's so much joy and happiness on the other side of, that tough time and that challenge. And we just want to encourage you to remain vigilant, and you know what I'm saying, stay steadfast, and continue to push forth and do what it is that you have been called to do. Because like I said on the last podcast, man, love is not simply an emotion or a feeling, man. Love is a call to action. Love is something that, you know what I'm saying, that must be expressed through different acts, and you know what I'm saying, an act of will. So again, just make sure you're sitting down, taking some time to have those conversations with one another, and before even going into them, make sure you communicate with one another, like, hey, this needs to be a safe space, so we can really cover some ground and really discover some things about one another, so that later on down the line we can still be together. Like, Man, that's so important. You know what I'm
And I
saying?
think to figure out your way of communicating,
Yes.
it may be that you need to write it down and exchange the papers that have what
Yeah.
I need. I'm going to write down how I'm feeling, give it to you. You go into another room. I read what you wrote. So we can process it. If you are with someone, and I've told a couple people before, um, find a safe place to talk.
Yeah,
If
definitely.
you need to talk in
Definitely.
public so your person don't clown,
Talk in public.
talk in public.
Yeah, for real.
Just do so quietly. Like, do what you need to do for you, because it's not a one size fits all. And don't be so focused on the way other people have done it. It doesn't have to be that you are doing it the way
Yeah,
we've done it,
everybody.
or
Yeah,
the way your
definitely.
parents did it, or the way your best friend is doing it, because it doesn't always work for every relationship.
Nah, your
It
marriage has to
definitely,
be.
and you are allowed to make your own rules. You are allowed to
Yeah,
take a little bit from
definitely.
here, a little bit from
Definitely.
there, and do your own thing, and create your own version of success.
Yeah, definitely. Because it's definitely every marriage is unique. You know what I'm saying? Period, bottom line in the story. Every marriage, every relationship is unique in its own right. So don't start looking left and looking right and comparing your marriage to other
Don't worry about
individuals,
the
and you
Joneses,
know what
because
I'm
I
saying?
swear
Like,
the
yeah,
Joneses have more problems than you know.
yeah, man, for
The
real.
Joneses
So
is raggedy behind them closed
boy,
doors.
what for real? You know what I'm saying? And we and our desire, and we're prayerful that, you know what I'm saying, everybody is healthy and in a decent headspace. Not meaning that you won't have challenges and you won't go through anything, but that you're in a healthy headspace. So with that being said, I'm gonna stop right there. And again, just encourage everybody to like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit the notification thing, so when we're dropping videos, you'll be aware of the fact that we dropped a new video. So um, hope I almost said it. I ain't gonna say it this time. Hey, y'all have a blessed remainder of the day. Peace. I don't know why you laughing.
You and the
All right, but I'm gonna do it one more time. Y'all have a blessed remainder of the day. Cause she distracted me just now when she started
I thought you were
laughing.
saying
And
anything you like on the
color
color
purple.
purple.
I
I was
ain't
like,
doing the
you.
color. All right, so I'm gonna just put it up. You know what I'm saying, like this then. Nah, but for real, man. Y'all have a blessed remainder of the day. Peace.